Alaska remains one of the most isolated and unsettling regions on the planet, a territory where silence seems to carry a physical density, as if the landscape itself observes those who dare to cross its boundaries. Over decades, researchers, residents, and travelers have accumulated accounts that transcend the border between the known and the unfathomable. There, the mountains rise like walls that hide more than just rocks, and the expanses of ice act as archivists of secrets too ancient to be easily revealed. In every breath of wind, there is a feeling that this land was not only made to be inhabited, but to be investigated and feared. The difficulty in understanding Alaska stems not only from its extreme geography, but also from the stories that persist, spanning generations. Native peoples record phenomena that cannot be explained by natural logic. Creatures emerging from frozen rivers, shadows moving at unusual speeds, subterranean sounds whose origin no one identifies. For them, these events are not legends, but warnings. And as modern science comes into contact with such narratives, the unsettling feeling arises that perhaps folklore is closer to reality than we imagined. The territory also harbors archaeological anomalies that defy understanding, such as fossilized human remains in improbable conditions, and subterranean structures identified only by seismic echoes. With each discovery, the doubt grows. What exactly lies hidden beneath that icy immensity? It becomes evident that Alaska is not just an inhospitable place, but a space where the unknown actively operates. And it is this scenario that forms the basis of one of the greatest mysteries of contemporary America. Several explorers report creatures that do not correspond to any catalogued species, moving under thick ice or briefly emerging in isolated rivers. In many cases, witnesses are people familiar with the region's fauna, able to distinguish visual deceptions from extraordinary phenomena. One of the most persistent reports describes serpentine beings with movements too precise to be mistaken for tree trunks and too long to belong to any known animal. Their appearances, though rare, leave a mark of unease that echoes through local communities. Similarly, fishermen who frequent Lake Iliamna report sightings that have been repeated for decades, always with similar descriptions. Something large moves beneath the surface, something silent and conscious. Science attempts to justify these occurrences through misinterpretations, but none of these explanations hold up when confronted with the consistency of the testimonies. The lake seems to harbor an inhabitant who does not wish to be discovered, but who also does not hide completely. These accounts would be mere curiosities if it weren't for their alignment with other phenomena in the region. In the most remote areas, hunters find footprints of impossible proportions, indicating creatures that would exceed 3 meters in height. The depth of the marks and the regularity of the footprints suggest something heavy, bipedal, with coordinated movement. Although they have never been officially documented, they reappear in the narrative whenever a new disappearance occurs, and in Alaska, disappearances are a chapter unto themselves. The region with the highest concentration of these occurrences has become known as the Alaska Triangle, a vast territory where people disappear without a trace. Pilots, fishermen, hikers, and even entire groups have vanished without explanation, even when flying mapped routes or hiking known trails. In many cases, communications cease abruptly, as if some kind of interference were acting selectively. Rescue teams scour gigantic areas, but almost never find traces of crashes, personal belongings, or evidence of animal attacks. It's as if the landscape itself absorbs anyone who dares to cross it. Among the most notorious disappearances, the case of an aircraft piloted by an experienced local resident stands out. After reporting normal flight conditions, the radio went silent. There was no distress call, no change of route or indication of a malfunction. Intensive searches with planes and helicopters found not even fragments. The void left by this type of event reinforces the theory that unknown forces may be at work, whether natural, geological, or something beyond that. The scientific community attempts to explain such occurrences through climatic factors, geomagnetism, or human error. However, the statistical density of the Alaska Triangle surpasses any equivalent region in the Western world. Disappearances without a trace or debris are not an isolated episode, but a persistent repetition. Even so, authorities avoid theories that go beyond the natural realm. even though native peoples have claimed for centuries that there are forces in that region that do not respond to the rules of the common world. While the triangle becomes increasingly associated with the unexplained, reports of creatures of uncertain origin continue to emerge. A recent case drew attention when a family recorded a small marine organism floating on the surface, moving appendages that resembled articulated tentacles. At first, many imagined it to be an unknown species of echinoderm. But the organism's unusual shape and behavior fueled theories about origins that extend beyond the terrestrial environment. The video quickly went viral, and debates multiplied among experts. Researchers, while remaining cautious, admitted that the organism possessed characteristics not found in catalogued species. Its body structure appeared more complex than that of creatures discovered in shallow waters, and its movement suggested an unusual level of adaptation. The absence of similar records only intensified the mystery. In a region where unexplained events already accumulate naturally, this episode added another piece to the puzzle. While these creatures roam the surface, deeper rumors give shape to Alaska's most unsettling mystery: the existence of a gigantic structure buried underground. Some theories suggest that this black pyramid is larger than the most monumental structures known, and that it was identified by seismic anomalies detected decades ago. Initially treated as geological noise, these interferences revealed regular geometric patterns, incompatible with natural formations. The initial investigation, conducted in a limited way, reportedly identified perfect angles and a mass so dense that it altered the behavior of seismic waves. Technically, it couldn't just be rock. This structure, hidden under dozens of meters of ice and sediment, appeared to possess characteristics similar to the ancient pyramids of Egypt, but on a larger scale. And its location, coincidentally or not, was right in the heart of the Alaska Triangle. Unofficial reports suggest that the pyramid emits unusual energy patterns, interfering with equipment, distorting compass readings, and generating electromagnetic noise perceptible only by highly sensitive devices. The most disturbing hypothesis is that the structure is not just an ancient monument, but a mechanism, perhaps active, perhaps not, whose function remains unknown. The absence of official information raises even more suspicions. The suppression of data associated with this discovery fuels theories that attempt to connect the pyramid to disappearances, creatures, and climate anomalies. Although none of this has direct proof, the overlap of phenomena is enough to generate legitimate questions. If the pyramid really exists, what does it represent? A lost civilization? A forgotten energy mechanism? Or something much more difficult to classify? Alaska, in this context, becomes a frontier between the natural world and something that escapes conventional investigation. It seems to harbor a web of interconnected phenomena that, when analyzed together, suggest that the region holds more than secrets. It holds intentions. And these intentions do not necessarily align with human understanding. Perhaps the difficulty in studying the territory is not only climatic, but also a barrier imposed by the very mystery that remains there. With so many unanswered questions, one conclusion becomes inevitable. Alaska is not just an extreme environment. It is a place where history, geology, biology, and even buried structures seem to conspire to keep a secret that has persisted for thousands of years. And in the face of all this, only one question remains echoing. What if all of this is true? If this mystery intrigued you, engage with this content, like, comment with your theories, and share your perspective on what might be hidden beneath the ice. Every interaction helps keep this type of research alive and allows more people to delve into the enigmas that shape our world. To continue exploring dark stories and in-depth investigations like this one, subscribe to the channel and follow the upcoming episodes. There's still much to be uncovered, and Alaska may be just the beginning.